So I want to do a little video on the theorizing theorist, Julio, All-American Cartel. He's doing some good work, and you know, I I trust him. I do. He's been straight up with me, and I think he's doing an honest investigation into Isaac Cappy. And for me, I've moved into concentrating on my music, but I did want to say a couple things to Julio in regard to Michael Aquino and the All Seeing You and Lepo. It's very interesting because prior to the Aquino interview, I was talking with Lepo, and he was very friendly with me. He had come out of the woodwork literally right before Cappy died, and I think he did a meme of Bobby Sauerwald, and then I DM'd him, or he DM'd me, and he publicized the DM. I thought that was pretty funny. So it was kind of a LARP, and he explained he was a comedian. Didn't know too much about the guy, but I knew that he was close with the All Seeing You, who I consider to be a pretty deceitful human being. I think the All Seeing You can take on different personalities and is a troubled individual. I'll put it diplomatically, but let me give you some of the backstory, Julio. So, both Carrie Wolf, the All Seeing You, and Dan Cromer, Lepo, they were pushing me to do this interview with Michael Aquino. Didn't know much about Michael at all. In hindsight, I wonder how the fuck the U.S. military allowed this psychopath to rise in rank. Start looking at the really early videos when Aquino was in his 20s with the eyebrows, and they keep on throwing the title mastermind and genius. I just looked at him as pretty pathetic, actually. Obviously he had the ability to control people, but at any rate, I've been investigating murders up in Northern California, and there were rumors that there were bodies on a Sonoma, California property owned by Michael Aquino's mother, Betty Ford Aquino. And of course, if you look at the Aquino family, they were Nob Hill Society San Franciscans. Betty Ford Aquino was brilliant. She, I think, started going to college at 15. Very, very bright lady. As far as Aquino, they were pushing me to do the interview, and I was very polite and cordial, but I wanted to know, since this guy was in charge of, Army PSYOPs, if they had anything to do with the Charlie Manson family. And I got Aquino to admit on Lepo's show that they were involved at the very beginning. And you have to look at Charlie Manson when he was paroled. He had to report to his parole officer, who was located right in the middle of Haight-Ashbury. So there was Charlie, surrounded by, all the hippie shake folks of, the Summer of Love, 1967, 1968. I was a little kid then. I was 7 and 8. I still remember the hippies. And I lived in Woodland Hills. And so you had the Manson family in Chatsworth. So I was a Boy Scout, and we would hike the hills, and we would occasionally see members of the Manson family. There was a certain Manson family person who would park in the parking lot at Food Fair, Winnetka and Ventura, and there were Manson girls that were enticing boys at Taft High School, which was right across the street. So, I was Happy to get the admission from Aquino. Um, but even more than that, Lepo, uh, I don't have a lot of trust in that guy either. Don't know what his story is, but it's there's something weird there. I asked Lepo for Aquino's email, so I've got some emails that I'm going to give you, unaltered. Uh, you're welcome to show them, and you can see the interplay. They're from August 8th, and then I had a conversation with Aquino on August 9th and asked him some hardcore questions. He was weak, spent around 9 minutes on the phone with me, and I wanted answers because a lot of shit went on in California. You had the Manson family, you had Freeway Killer, Hillside Stranglers, Night Stalkers, so on and so forth. And my big question was military operations uh, in lockstep with the alphabets committing murders or promoting the killings of citizens in order to extinguish the hippie movement that had probably been a cover for the importation of drugs. It's always a money making scheme, and that it got out of control. And you start to look at all the operations that have been infiltrated from the Yippies, right? Jerry Rubin, right? The Yippies, 1968 Chicago Convention to modern days. WikiLeaks is definitely comped. Anonymous was comped under PayPal 13. You can ask Kirtaner about that. He probably knows all about that. To various other movements, the Weathermen, the Black Panthers. I can go on and on and on. The government is usually behind revolutions and counter revolutions, and there's usually a financial angle. Take a look at what's going on with the Palestinians and the Israelis. It's about arms. It's about money for armament. People die, but it's about the transfer of wealth through the production and sale of military weapons. And so when you look at Aquino, you have to ask, how the hell did this guy get so powerful? And then you have to start to look at the founder of the DoD, Forrestal, who was definitely defenestered. He was murdered. That was back in the 40s. And who did he have under his wing? JFK. And what happened on November 22nd, 1963? JFK got whacked. So there's a lot of connective tissue there. But I'll give you what I have, and I'm happy to do it. What I find really peculiar is I believe that Aquino was responsible for having a lot of people killed. I believe that he was responsible for having a bunch of women killed up in Santa Rosa, and probably definitely behind the Manson murders. I believe, he was in Vietnam for a lot of that time, but it's very easy to give orders and to have a hierarchy, which he was used to, because, he had learned at the feet of Anton LaVey, who had a strict hierarchy. So I think you're going in the right direction, Julio, and I support you. If I can give you one piece of advice, you're taking donations via Cash App right now. Expand that into PayPal, Patreon, other financial tiers, because your work is important, and I like what you're doing. So keep it up, and thanks for listening.